Welcome to this video. It will show you how quickly you can move a diagram from Visio to Envision, and vice versa. The audience for this video is a user who is familiar with both products and has no admin responsibilities. Setup and other admin tasks are described in other videos. This video assumes two things. 1. A match file has been created that maps Envision objects with items on the Visio stencil. 2. Maps, or diagrams, or models, or whatever you call them, have been created using the appropriate objects, and that means there are no non-compliant objects or items. But don't worry. If you have used a novel item, the export will still happen. Your item will be ignored, and you can draw it later in the new environment. The easiest way to create a new empty diagram, in just the right place in the repository, is to create it as a subview. In this example, if we double-click on the subprocess object, we can create an empty diagram that we can use to define the tasks in that subprocess. And, if we have drawn that process as a Visio diagram, then we can import it here. This is your new, an empty diagram. Step 2. Drag and drop the Visio file. Envision opens Visio and examines the file. It will then present the field mapping form. Click the Load Mappings button. Step 3. Load the mappings file. This is the quickest way to match Visio shapes with Envision objects. If there is no mapping file, or if this import is just a one-off, you can match the objects manually. The easiest way is to drag and match values on the left with those on the right, or vice versa. Step 4. Check everything has been matched. Then click the Import button. Now, wait while Envision imports your diagram. Step 5. Tidy up your diagram and check it in. Have your diagram on display in Envision. Step 1. Select the option Export Diagram to Visio. It is on the File menu under Import Export. Step 2. Envision opens Visio with a blank drawing and opens the Mappings dialog box. Step 3. If the correct Visio stencil is not loaded, then click the Open Stencil button and select the relevant file. Now you have a choice of 3 methods to map Envision objects to items on the Visio stencil. If you select the Auto Map button, Envision will map the items in your Visio stencil to those with identical names in Envision. So, Task will map to Task. But, Start will not map to Starting Event. The second method is to drag and match items that you wish to map, but may have different names. In this example, Start and Starting Event. So, we can drag and match these items. If you are exporting many Envision diagrams to Visio, you can manually drag and match items, and then save those settings in a mapping file. Let's assume you have done this. To employ method 3, you just click the Load Mappings button to open your mapping file. The Envision types and Visio shapes are matched for you. This is the quickest way to export multiple maps. Step 4. Export. Click the Export button. Now, wait while Envision exports your diagram to Visio. While we are waiting, let's briefly revisit all the buttons on this form. Starting on the right, the Open Stencil button enables you to open the appropriate Visio stencil file. The Reset Mappings button clears all the mappings you have made on this form. The Save Mappings button enables you to save the mappings you have created for future use. The Load Mappings button enables you to find the mappings file that has been created and open it. This action automatically performs the matching of items using the previously defined matches. To create a match, you can drag an items from the left column onto the corresponding item in the right column to create a match. Or vice versa. It works both ways. Alternatively, you can click on an item in the left column, and then the corresponding item in the right column, and click the Create Map button. To delete a mapping, just select it, and click the Delete Map button. If you select the Auto Map button, Envision will map the items in your Visio stencil to those with identical names in Envision. Return closes the form without saving any of your work. The Export button that we have just clicked exports the diagram from Envision to Visio.
Voilà.
Step 5. Tidy up. You may need to tidy up your Visio drawing.
So, what have we learned?
Moving diagrams from Visio to Envision is a simple 5-step process. Exporting diagrams from Envision to Visio is just as easy. The more accurately the items in your Visio stencil matches those in Envision, the simpler your migrations are to execute. The use of a mapping file is the quickest way to migrate multiple diagrams. The creation of these files is explained in detail in other videos in this series.
Thanks for watching.